Welcome to TopBranch, a series from the Dove Agency, where we're rooted in stability and reaching for growth. Join the Dove Agency and our special guests as we bring you expert insights and practical solutions to help your interior design business thrive. This is TopBranch. Let's grow together.
Hi everybody, I'm Ruth Janson and this is Beth, and we are back for another episode of TopBranch. We are talking about today the exciting topic of keeping your business operations streamlined and how that is something that can really make or break your business. And we know we have learned many of these lessons the hard way.
Yes, we also are a service business.
Yes, small service business that needs to have streamlined operations to be successful. The 3 bullets that we are going to talk about under this, we like to make these short and sweet, are your processes, your product, and your people. So
we're going to do all that in 10 minutes.
We are going to crush this in 10 minutes. So with regard to processes, I think the key to this is really identifying which area of your company requires processes. Some things do not require a process, but most things that are important in terms of cost cutting and revenue generating require to kind of have that process identified and buttoned up. We've come up with a few that most designers need to be thinking about in their business, which are client onboarding, design, obviously, and selection process. That's kind of looks a little bit different for every designer. Your procurement, and then how you're managing the administrative side of your business. So,
Yep. I think also, I mean, in that same vein, in terms of kind of how you build this out, it might not be your skill set. You know, you might look at all of these things and go, I'm really good at XYZ, but building out those processes is not what is my forte, my strength.
Yeah.
And I can just say from personal experience, you know, I've got some good skills, but building out those processes is definitely not my forte. And so, you know, running a service business and looking at, okay, that is a key man or key woman role. That is not something that somebody can come in that doesn't have a really good understanding of how business operates and how to look at business holistically and big picture. They're not going to be able to come in and really help you with that. So I would encourage you, if it's not your skill set, to make sure that you're putting the right key man or key woman in place. We were fortunate enough to be able to bring in Ruth Ann to the Dove Agency as a partner with us, but you need to really take that selection seriously.
That's a great point. And I think one thing we didn't think about talking about here, but as a business owner, if you don't feel like that's one of your strengths, definitely look at, you know, outsourcing that in terms of hiring a consultant. You know, there's a whole bunch of people out there that are very qualified and really understand the design process and would be glad to help.
Great fractional CEO, CFO type person.
Exactly. In terms of after these processes are identified, documented, and you kind of feel buttoned up that you know what you're doing and you know how to get from point A to point B, what about the products that are supporting these? One of the things that, you know, we thought about when we were developing our product ID Nest is how to actually reduce the number of products that are necessary to support your key processes. That was a lot of P's, a lot of alliteration. But we look at our designers, and most of them, like on average, have 7, 8, even upwards of 10 products that they're using to support their business.
It's exhausting.
That's a lot. It's expensive. You know, it's a lot to keep up with in terms of the, you know, users and permissions and all of these pieces. So what we would, you know, kind of recommend is, can you get that down to maybe 3 or 4 key pieces of software to really help drive these processes, keep your costs down, keep it more simple, keep things as combined as possible. Maybe one piece of software could actually support 2 or 3 of your processes.
Right. And I think a lot of the people who start to collect software, I'm a techie. I love it. I actually would have done really well if I had gone and gotten my degree in, I don't know, computer engineering or something, because I kind of geek out on it. But as you start to collect all this technology, what ends up happening is a lot of this technology is repetitive. And so you're finding technology and you're like, well, this little piece of this technology is easier than this little piece of this technology. So I'll go use this part of this one and this part of this one, instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to get this down to 2 or 3 key, you know, pieces of technology. And then with those, I'm actually going to go take the time to learn them. And I'm actually going to take the time to train my people on them. And, you know, if you don't love kind of digging in that learning process, sometimes it's not instant. And so
Yeah.
don't just go collect more technology to
To
be
solve
able
your problems.
to solve your
Yeah.
problems. Instead, look at what you've got and say, does this piece actually achieve it? Even though, you know what, I might have to dig in and learn it.
Right. And I think, but the other side of that coin is don't stick with something too long that's not working.
Exactly.
Because we have a lot of clients that they have the software that they're sort of wedded to, and they're doing all these workarounds. They're not really using reports. There's a whole bunch of things that they're doing. And at the end of the day, I'm like, why are you even paying for this? You're doing all these things outside of this.
It's a lot of effort.
Right. So just be discerning, be mindful of how you're using these products. We try to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
So we've talked about processes, product, and the last thing is the people, which can be, a challenge, as we all know, running small businesses. I think that once the product and processes are defined, it's coming up with taking a look at your team, or maybe outside of your team, it's somebody you're going to have to hire, or a third-party provider. What are these tasks underneath the processes that actually need to get accomplished? What are the best skill sets? Who are the individuals that are most interested in performing these tasks? And I think kind of underlying that as well is, what are some checks and balances on these people that are performing these processes, and making sure that those are woven in as well, because that's equally as important as getting the task done, making sure that it's kind of the work is being checked, quality control, etc. along the way.
And any piece of technology that is being implemented to kind of refine or streamline your processes, there should be just kind of intrinsic in that piece of technology checks and balances.
Correct.
Any of these good platforms out there, they have checks and balances. They have administrative portals. They have this side of the system where the administrator or the owner can see things that the other employees can't. And, it's really on the owner of the company to be digging into this and to be digging into these reports, and
or have a person that you trust to do it.
To do it, exactly. Because if you're not actually looking at that information, then you're really putting a lot of trust in these employees, and it's not a bad thing to trust your employees, but
you need to don't get what you expect, get what you inspect.
Exactly.
Take the time to do the work. Maybe it's once a month, roll your sleeves up, figure out that's one of your processes. What are the areas of my company that I need to double check? It's not just always looking at your top line numbers, but there's other areas of your company that you need to make sure that you as the owner understand, are fully knowledgeable about all of these areas. Even if somebody else has been sort of running that for you during the month, don't be afraid to get in there and kind of check and make sure things are running as you think they are.
Yeah, I let you say that all the time, Ruth Ann. I mean, I will say she says that probably once a week.
Yes.
You get what you inspect, and that's very true. It's a great quote. Take that to heart, everybody, and let that run through your head.
Yes, you know what, I had a different quote, but I think we're just gonna go with that. And I have absolutely no idea where this came from, other than my son's lower school headmaster, if you will. At the time, he was in 4th grade, but that was his big quote: is you don't get what you expect, you get what you inspect. And he was talking about kids' homework, but I think it applies in a lot of areas of life, as we've seen.
It's great. It's great. So, well, it's been fun.
Yep, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
The Dove Agency is committed to services that ensure your financial stability and growth. As part of our dedication to the design industry, we present ID Nest, a powerful software solution for designers. Built by industry experts, it integrates financial insights, project and task management, time tracking, CRM, and marketing tools to streamline workflow and power your designs. Join us next time on TopBranch. And in the meantime, to learn more, visit idnest.com.